In this moments, I with the time I learned to understand that, it's in soccer, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You take the ball and put it in the net. That's a goal. That's a point.
Yeah.
But in art, it's hard to
Yeah.
to give a point here or here. It's an opinion. And if those judges think you won, it's their opinion. Even you did maybe just a baby freeze, and the guy did a baby freeze to 90 baby freeze, and they like your form better, maybe,
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge art,
It's very hard to
So
judge
that's
art.
why, yeah.
That actually is a good segue to a question I have, because now breaking is becoming kind of more of a mainstream sport, and it's eventually getting into the Olympics. You see like big sponsored events and stuff, and my fear is that we are doing this but don't have a solid way of judging it, because it is an art. And I think the way that we've always judged it makes sense for the small community that we have as b-boys, but like when it comes to the mainstream stage where there's like lots of money, lots of sponsors involved,
If you think worldwide stage, and
comparing it to soccer, for instance, or like basketball or any kind of sport that's on a huge main stage, I don't think the judging system we have right now is going to cut it, because what's going to happen is a sponsor is going to look at it and be like, okay, why did this guy win over that guy? And you go, oh, because these 3 judges said so. Okay, well, what exactly made them say that? He's got 50 years in the game, and he thought that his backspin was better than this guy's windmill. And then the sponsor's going to be like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I'm out.
Look, for me, it's how I compared.
You keep talking.
How I compared breaking to mixed martial arts, right? You remember mixed martial arts in the beginning?
Yeah.
90s, it was like a karate guy versus a wrestler.
Yeah.
A jiu-jitsu guy versus kickboxer.
Yep.
There
was there was like Wing Chun versus like Taekwondo or something.
And
it was a Wild West.
That's breaking, I would say, most of the time.
That's it right
because
now.
There is, or right now, but it's been for years that you have a guy that does more like foundation style, or a guy that does more blow up style, or a power move guy, or a mixed guy, But a complete mixed martial artist is somebody that can do like kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, karate, whatever, And that should be with b-boying too, man.
I think
if you want to be an Olympic champion, you cannot just roll around and do foundation and the freeze and that's it. You cannot be Olympic champion with only that. You have to have all the elements, in breaking, and you have to put it on a level, so everybody understands. Otherwise, it's going to be, like you said, people will not understand it,
Yeah. I think with mixed martial arts, it's a good example of this, because back in the day, it was just these styles versus each other, and eventually it evolved. People were seeing that certain styles were just dominating everything, and so then it evolved to where now the fighter isn't just this one style. He takes a little piece of this other style, and it makes him better. And so like eventually you saw everybody now doing that same thing, picking out different pieces of it. So now you see guys that, I mean, basically, and I'm not like an authority on this or anything, but like in general, like usually a good fighter would have some good striking, some good grappling, and some good ground stuff. And that would make them somewhat effective against anybody. Yeah. And that's the style that flew to to the top of mixed martial arts in the UFC.
Let's take Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah.
He's a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Southpaw, very effective.
Yeah.
But he had to learn takedown defense, grappling, He had to learn
because
jiu-jitsu.
those guys would do that to him.
He had to. Yeah. But now, or maybe last couple years, there is people, like young people, they come up with the full game. They don't come from karate or from wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
They come and train everything right away. Yeah. There is MMA gyms and for from 2 to 3 it's wrestling, from 5 to 6 is kickboxing, from 7 to 8 is Muay Thai, and then Jiu-Jitsu from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
You know? And they train all at the same time. So it's a complete fighter. That should be with b-boying, man.
Yeah.
I feel.
See,
like a standard. That should be a standard.
With mixed martial arts, I see how it makes sense to do it because it's the most effective way of fighting, and like having this broad range of ability to combat against all these different things, it makes sense for fighting. But like with breaking, I think there's an argument to be made that you're not necessarily, you don't, the full I guess, how do you say it? Maybe like full package of b-boy, one who has like every single power move, every single like footwork move, every single whatever. I think there's an argument to be made that somebody who maybe doesn't do that but has a strong certain part of, you know, one of those styles can be effective against them, because there's a lot of creativity and artistry that comes in with it. And that's what you're really being, that's the main way of, I guess, winning a battle, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, because in fighting, you get punched in the face and you get knocked out, or you get submitted, you lose. So the best way to get to that is to be able to defend against it and go and attack that way, right? But in breaking, there's not like a relation to fighting in that way, because you don't necessarily need to do a specific power move or whatever to win a battle or whatever. You
you don't have to do 5 one-hand air flares or 1090s, you know, but at least have some basic power moves, you know, because that's part of breaking. You know, if people say if you don't do footwork, you're not a b-boy. Hey, if you don't do windmill, backspin, headspin, then you're not a b-boy too. Because they were here before CCs. You know what I mean?
So I think maybe an
But
example.
I know what you mean with like artistry and his own style, you know, and everything. Meno, for example.
Yeah.
You know.
So like Meno, for instance, does a lot of like footwork and flowy type of moves. Not a lot of power moves. Not a lot of top rocks. Not a lot of I mean, that's kind of really the only stuff. He doesn't do a lot of freezes either. And then compared to, let me pick somebody. Someone who's more
last
well-rounded.
BC1 final.
Huh?
Last BC1 final. Did you see that?
Who was in
the Kazakhstan guy? Blonde?
Oh, yeah.
Kayla something.
Koila.
Yes.
Yeah. That guy's really good.
I thought he won.
I thought he won too.
Yeah, man, he was having
I could
fun,
see how
complete,
it was close.
original, you know.
I could see how it was close. I think actually Meno probably thought he lost too, and that's why he called him out for more rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was pretty close. If I was a judge, I probably would have voted Killa Koila.
Yeah, me too.
But, you know, I'm not judging. So.
Yeah.
Because I personally just thought that he had brought more to the table and had unique style.
He surprised me the most.
He was doing a lot of unique freezes and stuff.
And he came up every round with some new stuff.
He's he's a pretty well-rounded b-boy. But I would say he still airs on, you know, more of like a thread type of style and like a freeze type of style. I'm trying to think of a b-boy that would be like very, very well-rounded, and that's it. Like
Lizu. He's very rounded. He has power, I feel, with flips and power moves,
okay,
but he still has footwork. And
okay, so let's go with him. So him versus Meno. So someone who's well-rounded versus someone who's very specialized. I could see how it could go either way with that too, though. And that's
depends also what round. It depends what round. First round or last or final battle,
but
you know.
let's say they both throw their like dopest round though, right? You know, Meno does some crazy like loop-de-loop spin around thing.
1 minute solo.
Something long like that.
1 minute flowing waves.
And it's a really dope round. And then Lil Zoo comes out, does a flip, does some power moves, does some freezes, does some footwork, hits a solid round. I think there's an argument to be made that either one of them would have won. You know.
It also depends on the music.
But I think if this was mixed martial arts, you probably would have been like, oh, the
Knockout.
well-rounded guy would win. You know?
But it goes to distance sometimes in MMA, you know, and then judges take it, decide it wrong.
But I guess if you, in mixed martial arts, if you had a guy who's very good at multiple styles versus one guy who's maybe just good at, let's say, kickboxing. You know, I mean, this is a hard to predict example or anything, but I would say you probably would put your money on the guy who's more well-rounded, just because he can like attack from multiple angles, right? And he could get this guy, the other guy, into a situation that guy cannot defend in. Whereas the other guy is banking on being able to like keep him in his world where he's the best, right? Whereas in breaking, I feel like the guy who's very specialized, he can still like blow you up. Same thing that the guy who's very well-rounded can still blow you up. And so the moves are just as effective in a way, you know what I mean? And the strategy is a little bit different, because this guy doesn't need to keep you in his pocket anymore. He just needs to perform and kill it, right? And this guy needs to do basically the same thing, keep it in his pocket and do what he's good at, you know?
And
so
then
I don't know.
What looks visually better,
that's
then important, but what's gonna make it look visually better is the music, you know?
The music,
I think that's in breaking what plays a big factor.
That's the biggest
compared to MMA.
Oh yeah, for sure. Really, breaking is hard to compare to anything.
I think it's the closest thing sports-wise to compare breaking with MMA, I would say. Because if you cannot compare it with soccer or football, basketball, or
there's not a sport I can think of that it really compares to. The things that I think make the most sense is somewhere between mixed martial arts and skateboarding, or like something like that.
And the reason freestyle sports.
The reason I say like skateboarding, because a lot of that has to do with like they'll make up a trick and go like, this is what I'm gonna do. It's like it's just like making up your own breaking move, you know. But then skateboarding kind of, it doesn't quite match up, because then you see, okay, he says, oh, I'm gonna do this trick, and then they judge you on how well you hit that trick. But in breaking, you're not telling any judge what you're gonna do. You're gonna surprise them, and probably surprise them with the move that they've never seen before. And so you have this surprise factor too. So it's really hard to compare. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please click like if you liked it, or dislike if you thought it was whack. Either way, make some noise in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. And please subscribe if you're down with that broke boy and or broke girl shit. Thanks. Peace.